Hey everybody, and welcome to the weekly news show where we're going to go over all of the things that happened in the gaming world.
But first, a word from our sponsors. Update on the displayed posters. So you guys have sent us some really good ones.
It is amazing.
I don't know if I want to show you. I could show you some of them, but some of them are like I really want to hold. I haven't replied to everybody that sent. Don't expect an immediate reply on people that send it. Just know that we're getting them all, and then we'll go through them and send a reply to the winner. But thank you guys so much for your submissions. We're still running this. I think we should run it till the end of June. So please, if you want to make some art to put on a poster to potentially win, where we'll pay you and give you a poster, and then have it be our official poster, please do so. And also, you know, we were getting feedback on the, designs from the official displayed artist who's working, so I'm going to show you a little updates on those. Look at these. They're looking good. So it's going to be exciting, guys. And I see some of you are already buying posters. Thank you so much. Every purchase helps the Angry Joe Show, and they're sweet-ass posters. We have them set up here, and we like them a lot. So click the link below. Angry Joe Show is your 15% off code, or you can wait until we put up our community posters, which are going to be awesome. So save a little bit of money for those. One of your choice. All right, guys. So that's it. Let's go ahead and get to the news.
All right, we've got Trade War Watch 2019.
Oh, no.
The Wall Street Journal reported that Nintendo hasn't officially announced that there's 2 new versions of the Switch coming out, but there's been a bunch of leaks from the Nintendo team that there are 2 new Switches. There's a performance one, and then there's a budget one. The budget one it should just be handheld only.
That's so weird.
It's going to be
handheld only.
No rumble packs, just for people that want really a Game Boy that plays slightly better games. And then there's the performance version that they think may go 4K, and there's some other things. But since budget's in mind, and with the trade war and the proposed
prices go up,
so they're actually moving production for the Switches out of China, and they're looking at Southeast Asia, so probably Vietnam, and so. That's actually really big news. And this week, kind of unrelated to gaming, but I mean, it kind of shows you the direction that these tech companies are going. So Foxconn said that they're going to be moving Apple's iPhone production outside of China as well. And so those are for iPhones coming to the United States, where the only tariffs are going to be happening. So this is really big news. So we were thinking that maybe nothing was going to come of this. It was just posturing.
Yeah.
But
Trump blowing hard, and then China being like, nah, we're not doing this, and then them 2 button heads.
So
but nothing ever really was going to go down. But if these companies are starting to actually move production,
something's afoot.
Yeah,
we might need to worry about our board games.
Yeah, I mean, and there's an incredible amount of things that come from China, and it's not a list that says that all of these items get a tariff. It's all items from China, but these items have the tariffs applied, and it's like rare, so minerals and medical equipment, and that's pretty much it. So, game consoles and our board game, are not gonna.
Can we move it down to that list?
Yeah. We'll have to pay some senators a lot of money. Just like, hey,
we need the games.
Come
on,
throw board games on there.
Please.
Just as much as medical stuff.
Who is out there, being our lobbyist, being our slimy, dirty lobbyist on behalf of gamers and board games? Our board game is going to be affected by these increases if there's not a lobbyist out there saying, for example, hey, our production is in China because guess what? In the U.S., there is no manufacturer that will make these pre-painted miniatures just like this. And so hopefully that can get an exception. But, the government, all this kind of stuff gets, under the table, and people with the money and the power get what they want. It just sucks to see. And, we try to stay away from politics here. I've learned that lesson. But when it's mixing with games, then you got a problem.
Yeah, now you're hitting a nerve.
Now you're hitting a nerve. If consoles are $10-$20 more than what might actually happen, a lot more than that.
Hundreds of dollars
and the cost is passed to consumers, That's going to blow up in Trump's administration's face.
Yeah.
But if these companies are moving their shit out of China and going to Vietnam in order to hold their price points at their current level so they reduce their price, then that maybe your average consumer's not going to notice and think everything's fine, and continue voting for those types of policies. We'll see. We'll see what comes of it.
A lot's supposed to happen this month. So there are hearings in this week and next week going over what's going to happen. Yeah. And then we have the G20 at the end of this month where there is a proposed meeting that the two leaders will meet up. And
this is super important to us because we have a board game in production, multiple board games in production, and that's going to make our board games either unprofitable, or we have to pass the costs off to the backers, or we have to hope that there's going to be a lobbyist on behalf of board games.
Hopefully in 2 weeks they come to some sort of agreement and keep things as they are, but we just don't know. Please. And so it's important because we have all the new consoles coming out in the next 2 years. We've got Scarlet and then PS5.
They're going to use this as an excuse to raise our games to $70, Joe. Mark my words,
it's gonna be more than
on
that.
The next Xbox Scarlet and PS5 going to be $70, and they're going to blame it on the trade war.
Well, yeah, I mean, even though that they're not manufactured there in China, what they're going to do is they're like, hey, look, we always lose a little bit of money on the consoles, and now we have to make up even more money than normal. So instead of breaking even at 4 games, we have to break even with fewer games, or I don't know how they're going to spend it, but it's going to be bad.
It's going to be more expensive. These consoles are going to be more expensive, period. They're going to probably build in that cost. So
yeah. Well, speaking of China, we got a really interesting small story with Ubisoft and their advertising for Watchdog Legion, where they had a promotional piece of art where you see a bunch of people with umbrellas, and then you see 3 members of the Watchdogs and a
the protest group in Watchdogs.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's versus the government, and they're dead sec, and so they're against the power. But China took this as an insult to them.
Yeah, saying that look, this is you're mocking the the umbrella holding protesters from years ago, and then going on now. And it's very clear. One, we know the game is in London. I think there's a British flag on one of the umbrellas. They took offense to it, and it was almost silly because it wasn't the Chinese government. It was a bunch of Chinese consumers that came after them, and Ubisoft just immediately caved.
Yeah.
And it was
apologize and admit it and say, "Oh, we're so sorry about this." Well, it's not weird. You were right, Alex. These companies are all motivated by the money in China, and they're not motivated by the government money in China. They're motivated by the consumer money in China. So if it bothers the consumers in China, then Ubisoft is going to bend over backwards, spread their butt cheeks, and that's essentially what.
I didn't need that.
You didn't need the imagery. Like, my bad. Okay, well then I'll make it more PC. They kiss it. They kiss the booty.
Yes, browners.
All right,
Browners.
and they said, we're sorry to whoever this might have offended. And the problem is if they start to remove some of that stuff. Now, DeadSec is no longer DeadSec represented by a skull. It is FunSec represented by a unicorn.
You can't have skulls. Skulls are parts skeletons.
That's why I said
not allowed.
That's why I said that. So I'm just concerned about the growing Chinese market changing our games and the way the games are made. I have no problem making more money in China. Hell, I want to make more money in China with board games. But hopefully there could be 2 different versions, or they can find some kind of mid-level to where creative designs are not compromised in that kind of way. I'm just worried about that, and so we're going to report on different things that we see that might line up with that.
Movies are going to come first. We're going to see a lot more change in the movie industry, and then it's going to translate into games as it kind of naturally does.
We shall see.
So the next piece of news we got a little over a week ago, but it was during E3, so it kind of got lost, is GameStop. And we've talked about GameStop, and we've joked with them, but their stock lost 40% of its value on Tuesday at the beginning of this month. It's just over $5. It actually dropped below $5. Now, to put that in perspective, in 2007, GameStop was worth over $10 billion. It has lost 95% of its value as a company since then.
Really was more like with like a.
And so they were trying to sell the company at the beginning of the year, which we talked about. No one wanted to buy them. And things aren't going well. I mean, everything is working against them. One, they're an old-fashioned style company.
Yeah.
the consoles are still a couple of years off. You know, this is about the time historically where we would have gotten new consoles if things kept the same.
They're trying to hold on to the next console generation.
Yeah, and then the new-ish CEO, he's been in charge since March. He keeps talking about patience, and he's talking about, oh no, it's a couple years. We just need a couple years to transition. It's like if you look at their stock, the prices of their
stockholders aren't buying it,
and they're not buying it, and it's going away. Well, they also cut dividends, and so before GameStop stock paid dividends, and they just halted it. So they were going to use it to pay off debts and run promotions and sales.
Yeah.
But taking away money from investors and hoping the investors stick around for a couple of years, I mean, I don't know if that's going to go well for them.
It's crazy. It's crazy to see the end of an era, because I think GameStop eventually, man, another 10 years, I don't think we're going to be, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want them to be there, because I need the used game angle for people like, you know, that Madden comes out and we want to protest in Madden. Here's what you do. If you really want to play Madden, you have no other way to play Madden, buy a used copy of Madden. You know, that way at least the publishers ain't seeing the money. I mean, they saw the money the first hand, but, you know, at least you can feel better about
just
it. Some
once.
of your used games, and for people that need a little bit of help with that, because not everybody can afford the new stuff that comes out
constantly.
right away.
Is there like anything they could really do? Because obviously their program's not working. They're like, oh yeah, you can play whatever game for 48 hours. I guess that's what
they give that enough time.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, that was like 3 weeks ago. Anytime a corporate implements something, Joe, that needs to, you know, give them some time on that.
Patience, right? It's not gonna work.
Yeah, a couple of years.
Well, so the thing is that they started selling more toys, merchandise, and just recently here, Thinkgeek is shutting down.
Yeah.
It sucks, because Thinkgeek was a really cool store. Their online store is shutting down, but you could still buy their stuff locally in GameStop. Is what they're like reorganizing. That's they get PR responsive. We are re-strategizing, reorganizing. It's not that, you know, we got no money. It's that we're going to do something different. No, that you got no money and you want, you know, so you have to do something different. So now the only reason to go to GameStop is for cool little toys from the Thinkgeek.
Well, even then, like, you could go to like Amazon or something.
Yeah, all right, Amazon.
Literally anywhere else.
Yeah,
I mean, they
unfortunately.
Well, if you got GameStop stock, holy moly.
Cash out your $5.
Yeah, I think it's just over. I checked. It's just over $5 today, but last week it was like $4.70.
Joe analyst is
going
to make a prediction. If GameStop can hold out, they're going to hold out till the next console generation. I think the sales will go up purely because you've got the excitement for the consoles, everybody rushing to buy a console, buying the games with the console, and GameStop can make a little temporary spike, but where it goes from there, probably right back down.
But you've got to survive for until that period of time. Like, we don't get the Xbox until late 2020.
2020.
And then PlayStation isn't announced, but we're assuming it's going to be roughly the same time because it makes sense.
I'd say 3-6 months out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Well, poor GameStop, but you know what? They did it to themselves in a lot of these things. They should have been a little bit more forward-thinking.
Well, they were. They actually were one of the first companies to look into video game streaming as a service. They were just, 5-6 years too ahead of their time. They bought a company. They tried to do. You could stream games from them. It's just the infrastructure didn't work. I mean, so they tried to do what Stadia and Apple.
Damn, that just makes me feel more sorry for them.
Yeah,
they tried better trade-ins.
Yeah, seriously.
That's a big one. Better trade-ins, I would have been more inclined to be like, all right, I already have, what do you give me? It's like, oh, check out this new game. Okay, I can do that instead of 50 cents. Fuck you. Never coming back.
I'm never coming back here. That's a lot of it, too.
I bought Shadow of Mordor for like $60. Erica finished it, and I went to go return it for something. I saw that they were selling used copies for $50.
Yeah.
And there's like,
oh, sweet, I'll
$4 in store credit, or I can give you these Skittles. It's like, oh, all right. That's fun.
Yeah, it's...
Fuck you. I'm out of here. And then you knock over this like that one guy in the video.
The Fallout guy, yeah.
Oh, boy.
The next bit of news that we got is we got a Kickstarter update this week from Shenmue 3. Yeah, I saw it. It was super fun.
Offer people refunds.
Yes.
No.
We're still behind that.
You're going to get infused with cash from Epic.
Yep.
Game Store exclusive. You're infused from cash with your new publishers, and yet you're over here refusing refunds from the few people. Honestly, when you offer people guarantee, buyback guarantee, there's a small ass percentage of people that use it. You can take that hit unless you think your game is fucking garbage.
Yeah.
And unless you think that you can handle it, and that's what's going on here. No, but these are people asking for refunds before they even play the game.
The backstory was they had trouble developing the game, so they went to Kickstarter. They got money from Sony. They had a failed Kickstarter in 2015, and then another one. I think the total money they raised is just over $7 million. And they said it was going to be available on Steam. You could have on PlayStation, and that they were going to send out codes. And it was just announced that it's going to be an Epic exclusive. So people who are anti-Epic are furious, and so they said they tried to get refunds, and then the official response is absolutely no refunds. It's Epic. But all of the users now are looking at their credit card companies, and they're looking towards Kickstarter saying, look, this is clearly false advertising. You put the Steam stamp on it. I wanted to play it on Steam, and you pulled it away, and you're not giving me my refund. So I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll probably get an update, either from Kickstarter or from users that are getting refunds from their credit card company, just saying, look, you cannot...
Yeah, sue them.
Yeah, get a charge back.
Sue them. Like, seriously, this company, whoever's handling their PR or their policy is being stupid. Unless you literally are in negative money right now, you need to offer refunds. I don't understand what's going on over there, which makes me even more skeptical about the Shenmue 3 development if they are refusing to offer a few refunds. Not everybody in the Kickstarter is going to be like, give me my money back, and that seems like what they think is going to happen. If they think that's going to happen, then why did you take the Epic Store exclusive? If you knew that you were going to piss off your whole backer base to the point where you can't afford to offer refunds, why would you take the money? That's greed. That's greed.
Or they knew that they're putting out garbage, and they're like, "Look, we got to make some money on this thing."
Right.
So Epic's going to give us a little bit, so we might as well take some.
It's that story that they've dumped a lot of money into it, their own money, and then they're in debt, and they're like, "We got to do this, whether people like it or not. Let's do it." But still, we have the right to complain about it and complain on other people's behalf, because I did not kickstart it. No. I was going to maybe potentially review the game if it came out and play the other ones, but I'm not looking forward to it because Shenmue 1 and 2 has some really frustrating parts. You have to wait in real time for people's schedules to be done. It's really bad. You have to wait 7 hours for the next NPC to get off work.
It's like waiting for the cable guy. You're just like, what is this?
And I'm like, this better not be.
Just go to his work and go talk to him there.
But people want the conclusion to the story. It's going to be really interesting to see when that game releases, what its sales numbers are, which are probably not going to be shared.
Yeah. No, it's going to be pretty low. I mean, we won't get. I don't think PlayStation gives any of that information out. You get some of it on Xbox. You can see what the top 49 games that people are playing.
Now, does Epic do it?
I don't think they will.
Yeah. So. All right, well, yeah, because they they don't want people to see the exact numbers and compare it with Steam and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Shenmue 3 offer refunds now.
It's a must.
Well, the last thing we weren't going to cover any of the releases or for E3 that just happened. I mean, we did hours and hours and hours of it.
5 videos.
Yeah, but there was some...
Which, let me say, the Nintendo coverage was bad. I want to apologize to all my Nintendo fans out there. On my behalf, I was on 2-3 hours of sleep.
He was sleepy.
And I was sleepy. But honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not going to fake my reactions on anything, and I hope you guys respect that. But there would have been a little bit more there for some of the games. I really like Empire of Sin. I like Astral Chain. I like all of these games. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 that were shown off. Treehouse. Nintendo Treehouse is amazing. I would have bumped it up even another point after watching all 3 days. Yeah, of Nintendo Treehouse, because they do exactly what we wanted, which is gameplay. That's the story coming out of E3. There's no gameplay. Nintendo delivered gameplay. Yep. And that's what made me so interested about the police one, the Astral Chain. You know that one that I was talking about? That one looks really, really cool.
Chain, the one where you have that weird slave on a chain. You're walking around. It's it's a dom sub relationship thing with a monster. It's
not always like that. There's different elements to that game. You need to look at the gameplay. It's good. Shut up.
All right. But so we were not going to talk about any of the releases that came out of E3 because we did quite a bit of that. But there was some interesting controversies that came out and some real fun stuff. We learned, some people learned that you can't film strangers in the bathroom.
Shocker.
Oh, my God. Dr.Disrespect.
Yeah.
Talking about that. This fool walked into a motherfucking bathroom in the middle of his IRL stream
3 times.
with people fucking pissing.
Yes, 3.
Pissing and shitting. Like, what the fuck do you think would have happened? And I noticed, some people's reaction, they were like, they kind of was like this, and, but if that shit was me, I'd been like, what the fuck are you doing in here? Maybe not necessarily to Dr. Disrespect, because I'm like, oh, I recognize him, but this guy with the fucking camera backpack with his fucking camera up in here, I'm like, get the fuck out! What the fuck? There's like little kids on the fucking stream.
I'm
There's like a
surprised
little
nobody
boy.
said anything.
That is fucking nasty, and you deserve that ban, honestly. How could you be so stupid? I hear he's a good guy. I hear he's like funny and but I guess sometimes all that celebrity gets to your head and you stop thinking. Well, it's his first IRL stream because people were making fun of it. First IRL stream, last IRL stream. But you
so many people watching
sense.
that.
Oh, I know.
Privacy, man.
Yeah,
Privacy.
so he's banned from Twitch for an indeterminate length of time. Who knows?
Probably 30 days.
Yeah, I mean, what he did was not just.
I don't think it should be a permanent ban, but it should be like. Don't be easy on him just because he's one of the more popular streamers on there, and he's got a lot of fans who are like, release Dr. Disrespect. He should at least see some punishment, and I think he knows that it's fair. But I think he's even making fun of it now because he's got a new emote that's like the fucking peeking. You can call it the pedo peeking because there are fucking little boys in there, and he's in fucking. Just a dumb ass idea. Not just going in there once, but multiple times.
3 times.
Somebody could. Dumb.
I couldn't believe it because we were at the theater and you're like, did you see this? And I was like, what is this? Like, who's filming in this bathroom? And I just couldn't believe it was Dr. Disrespect. It was. I mean, you'd think he would know better because it's against Twitch.
I mean,
it's
name
against the law.
Disrespect.
Yeah,
because he's going in there and disrespecting everybody in that bathroom. Man, I'm so happy I didn't go to E3 and then I didn't encounter that shit because it probably would have been assault on my. I was surprised that people were just like. It's totally cool with it. I think his celebrity, there's a certain, numbness that you get that you're like, oh, whoa, that's Dr. Disrespect.
Yeah, but like you said, it wasn't him standing with the camera. There
was
just
this
some
guy
there's some random
him.
guy just going like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Awkward as fuck.
Just shove that camera up his ass.
So a couple other things did happen at E3. You
Oh, I know. You're talking about the zombies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
There's
there's a few blunders around E3. So Dr. Disrespect goes into a bathroom. ZombiUnicorn, she was known for the bully hunters thing, which was just a terrible idea. Let's bully the bullies and create more harassment around the internet. She just has terrible ideas. And then she just randomly walking the floors of E3. She filmed some dancers performing. I think it's at the energy drink booth or something.
Yeah, there was a Bang energy drink, so they were promoting it and they had the dancers, but obviously they
male
were
and
short
female.
Shorts.
Yeah,
it was choreographed and everything. So
they're professional dancers, right?
Yeah, and she turns and she's like, no, we don't do that anymore. No booth babes. We don't need booth babes. Booth babes are done.
Things at E3. It's 2019. Booth babes are nothing anymore. We don't do booth babes. Sexually objectifying women in ways that we don't need to be doing. So don't do it. Okay, cool. Thanks.
And she got eviscerated online. So it's just like a really bad take. Like she was like the most clear example of virtue signaling for meaningless internet points. And she didn't really understand that those weren't booth babes. And I just saw so many tweets at her, like just ripping her apart. And she was like fighting almost every single one. And it's difficult to see that, when somebody's so fucking wrapped up, smelling their own goddamn farts and in their own echo chamber, right? That I just had to tweet out. I said, hey, Zombie, just friendly criticism here. This was a bad take. Those were dancers, not booth babes. There's a difference. And if you have a problem with them wearing short shorts, because that's the only reason I can see is the dancers had short shorts. She's like, this is sexually objectifying women for the gain of products. And I was like, well, if you have a problem with the short shorts, it's kind of hard to take you serious. Because I was like, what is all this, drama? I go to her Twitter page and she's pinned a tweet where she's got her booty hanging out and she's like really revealing.
Wearing short shorts.
In support of a product or an event. And I was like, And so I took the screenshot and I just showed her just to let her know, hey, this is probably why you're getting a lot of shit. You're getting rightfully roasted on the internet. She blew up. She sent like 3 tweets in the matter of like 10 seconds. She's like, what? What now, Joe? You going to respond? You're not going to respond, Joe? So you give me like 12 seconds to respond. And she went the angle of booth babes are not acceptable. This is the policy for booth babes. And I'm like, what makes you the queen bee of determining who's a booth babe or not? These are not booth babes. They're fucking dancers.
So in my mind, a booth babe is someone who is at a product booth that may know nothing about the product, but is just there to be, I'm going to lure you in, and then the second you show up for the bait, the salesperson, is that a booth babe?
That's a booth babe in my definition, where they're vapid. They have no idea what they're talking about. They're just hired by a particular company. Don't do any research. There used to be booth babes, and I'm not in support of booth babes. So actually, one small part of our argument I agree with. Booth babes, whatever. Yeah. Some people like booth babes, and that's fine. But I can see both sides of the argument. But clearly, these were dancers, and she said just a really bad take. And so she was like, respond. So I responded, very calmly, and told her like, these aren't booth babes. Again, I'm trying. And she's like, how dare you use the clothes I wear? And I'm like, I'm not using the clothes you wear. I don't care what the fuck you wear. You are using the clothes you wear, not me.
Don't criticize people for something that you're doing.
Exactly. And so, so I said that, and then she blocked me. And she blocks apparently some other people she blocks anybody that says anything to her. So it's
making friends on the internet.
And the whole thing I took from that is like, wow, Twitter has really turned into an echo chamber. There's like little signs that will form, and you cannot tell anybody anything outside of their little echo chamber. And that's, I got to take a break check. And that's why I follow people with other political opinions, other opinions on games.
Just to see their thought
hardcore
process.
Nintendo fans when I'm not that hardcore of a Nintendo fan, just because I like all perspectives. And anytime, I don't want my ego to get in the way of different opinions. And I've made mistakes in the past before. And, so I want to keep an open mind. But it's just sad to see a lot of people don't keep an open mind anymore on Twitter. So guys, keep open minds. Take criticism.
Yeah, basically. And for the record, we're not sexist and we love women, apparently.
Yeah, we're not sexist. You can wear whatever the fuck you want. Oh, yeah, I got called sexist.
This channel hates women and they're sexist. Like, no, we're not.
Somebody said that, Joe?
Yeah,
I didn't fucking
Well, you got
see
blocked. I didn't.
Oh, well, you just got blocked.
Oh,
now.
Damn it, I'm sorry.
How dare you, Joe, say that you're not sexist.
Not sexist.
Don't you understand that ZombiUnicorn is the queen bee at determining who is a booth babe and who is being sexist? Zombie, I don't give a fuck what you wear. You can wear whatever the hell you want. But if you call somebody a booth babe who's clearly a dancer performing and try to get them fired and try to get their job taken away, like those Formula F1
go
girls.
talk to them. Hey, do you like doing this? Do you enjoy this?
Yeah. If they had a problem.
dancers.
Exactly. If they came up and said, yeah, Zombie, we're being oppressed because they're making us wear these short shorts.
Yes,
and it makes our movement less. We can't move as well with these short shorts. And it's so hot with these short shorts when we're performing.
Yeah,
I wish we were wearing long pants.
Don't just
restrictive outfits.
Talk to them.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's just crazy to me. A lot of E3 drama.
Well, and the last piece of E3 drama was people talking about Call of Duty. And it was
I've heard about
IGN.
And this
not enough water. 0 out of 10.
Pointy elbows.
Call of Duty.
Their
take on Call of Duty was so bad.
Yeah, so you had all these people walking out from playing the demo, and they were upset with the...
It was a closed doors demo, because I was like, wait a minute, didn't you tell me... And we were telling each other Activision wasn't a part.
They had no
and this
they had
is
no booth,
leading to lower attendance numbers at E3, because obviously Sony pulled out, Activision pulled out. Apparently they were there. They were showing behind closed doors demos to a select amount of people, and they made the error of selecting IGN. Because every single IGN person was like, I don't want to play this.
It's too realistic.
Loud explosions triggered me. It was basically, it was really controversial, and it made them feel very uncomfortable because it was very realistic. And they can't imagine playing a game like that.
Yeah, so I haven't seen it. I haven't played it. There is a point where if a game is realistic, where I feel like I'm just indiscriminately shooting women or children, I would probably not play it. But if you're playing a game like Call of Duty and
Like
if there are armed combatants, I don't know if I would feel bad. But I don't know. I haven't played it. We talked about this a lot when we actually saw Detective Pikachu, where we were talking about the realistic depictions of Pokemon and why there wasn't a whole lot of battling, because when you actually see
context matters, though.
Well, it does, yeah. And so as something looks more and more realistic, like you don't care about a cartoon Pikachu fighting a cartoon like other Pokemon, but if you start to see something that looks realistic, you can start to
feel bad.
You can feel bad for doing
yeah.
that. So maybe this game is just so realistic that when you're shooting them,
I don't know if you guys remember back in 2000, what was it? 2014, yeah, Modern Warfare 2 had the scene where you could literally mow down people and that was a huge controversy, and it was a big emotional moment, and it was memorable, to say the least. You didn't have to shoot everybody. By the way, I didn't fucking shoot nobody. Yeah. I was taking it in. I was like, holy fuck. And this left an impression on me. It's like, fucking, this is terrorism. This is fucking, evil and shit, and and so it gave you a little bit more purpose to come in as the good guys and put down all this crap. And I think that's the description of what they played, to break it down for you that shocked them, is you're not a terrorist. See, I thought they were going to say you're a terrorist team and you're shooting people in full real 360 VR where they're screaming for their lives and their children, and you shoot a child in the head. No, it's none of that.
You play the good guys.
You play the good guys, and you go into a London house, a little shack, and you shoot up a bunch of terrorists that weren't expecting you to show up.
Yeah.
You got your tactical gear, you got night vision and shit, and there are some people that aren't necessarily in the uniforms that you would expect bad guys to wear.
Yeah.
And you have to use tactics, and people are peeking, people are using human shields and
fake human shields too, which I think was the one recurring thing. The complaint that you got is where there would be someone holding a woman hostage and holding a gun, and then she would pull the gun, and they're both bad guys. I got you, but you have to shoot both of them.
But that shit is fucking interesting to me. I was like, oh my God, you're making me want to play this. IGN is making me want to play rather than not making me want to play, because all that sounds really tactically interesting. A lot of interesting choices and new challenges that we've not seen in games before. And guess what? Yes, it's more realistic, because these are what our servicemen and women have to deal with sometimes when you're going in that situation. Enemy combatants combining themselves with the civilian population or hiding as civilians, and they're not really civilians, and they turn around last minute. What are you going to do? And I don't think that it's necessarily a bad thing to depict that in video games or to give you a certain challenge. I'm excited for it, so as long as it remains tasteful, and so as long as it doesn't cross the line. And I don't think it's going to do either of those things.
I can't imagine it's going to. I mean, when you create something, you have a target audience in mind, and this
never force somebody to do it. Like even in the game, how many years ago was that? 6 years ago, they didn't force you to do it. You didn't have to shoot people, but it's a cutscene.
So it's a choice.
Yeah.
So as long as they have give us a choice, if they're bad guys, then shoot the bad guys. Period.
Yeah, and the demo was also taken out of it was just a snapshot into the game. It's not necessarily the opening sequence.
Oh, right.
You can actually warm up to certain things, and if
context matters,
context matters quite a bit. And so you were just dumping them in, and you're probably using the most sensational thing you can to get people talking about the game, especially if it's not a movie. And you chose a group of people that we.
So you don't necessarily blame IGN.
I think that they were thrown in there purposefully, where it's like, hey, let's go get these people who typically don't play our games.
Encourage them. Hey, you guys should talk about this.
The sales are going to go up way higher now.
That video got downvoted something like 20,000 to 2,000.
For IGN, not because of the game, though, obviously.
But it did a great advertisement. IGN saying, don't play this game. It's too realistic.
It's too violent.
And there's too many new mechanics that will shock you. Everybody's like, pre-ordered.
It's too much fun. Your heart can't handle it. It's just too much fun.
I think they said too, it's like, I don't know, it might give somebody PTSD, something like that. It's like, oh my God.
It's a video game, guys. Try real combat.
I don't know. Maybe we haven't played it, so we don't know. It could be that intense that we don't enjoy it. But I just don't see that happening.
Yes, that's right. I might have to go into therapy, guys, and end my show. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
that's going to be an interesting review.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay, well, good. If you want to know our opinions on the individual games that came out at E3, definitely check out our E3 coverage. We've got plenty of that. Usually this is a dead month for games, you know, the June, July, August kind of thing. But there are some coming out. We're doing impression videos and things like that. So stay tuned for that. And please submit your artwork if you're an artist for the display posters. We're so happy with the ones that we've been sent.
Still running it till the end of the month.
In the end of the month, it would be great to see if you or any of your friend artists can contribute. That would be sweet. And thank you guys so much. Yeah, that's it for us.
I'm going to try to enter in the contest.
Joe, you can't draw?
You'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
Crayons on the Denny's.
Well, I mean, there's also composition. I've seen some really great compositions, too. It doesn't all have to be drawing.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe and ding our dong.
Check out some merch.
Check out some merch, and thank you guys. See you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.